I thought you were on the ball.
Yeah, I don't know. I think tickets are sold out for the Kevin Smith Clark's 3 tour in Toronto. I don't know. I guess we could take a look. Would you want to go though? It's like midweek. It's like an evening time. You'd have to be up past your bedtime.
My bedtime? I think you're mistaking.
Right. Sorry.
Us for you.
Past my bedtime. So, how many hours of sleep do you get a night?
I don't know. I try not to count.
Well, first of all, because we understand that your math is a little bit wonky.
Yeah,
so
my math, like
by nature, but if you got 6 hours a night, you think that's accurate?
I think that's close. Close. I would like to get more. I'm sure more is better, right? I think the optimal is what, 8 hours. I don't know if you guys are having trouble sleeping. I feel bad for y'all. Hopefully you can get some sleep soon.
Yeah, I don't. I get about maybe 5 to 6, depends.
Yeah,
I get up.
You're up early.
Yeah, but then I don't go to bed early. Like I go to bed early for you. Like it's like it's equivalent of going to bed at 6 o'clock. You're like, dude, it's like 12. Why are you not awake still? And you're messaging me, and I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, ideally, I think more sleep is better, but there's not enough time in the day to do things, Rob. I wish I could. No. I wish someone could add, like, top up your plan or whatever. Give me 6 more hours in a day.
Seriously, that's what you want? Yeah. You want a 30-hour day?
Maybe, yeah. Get a lot of stuff done.
See, I would honestly probably waste it, like, doing some shit that I probably wouldn't talk about on this podcast.
Yeah, what's up, Lewis? What's up, Fraser? Dino, I don't know if you're still there. What's up, Dino? Yeah, Terminator 2, hella, yeah, it does slap. So welcome, folks, to the Sidekick Show. We are live every Monday night at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're listening to this on the replay on your Spotify or on the YouTube, please join us for the live show. It's a lot of fun. We like the interaction. We like to hear from you guys. We like to hear all your opinions, your favorite things about whatever movies we're talking about, or why you dislike various movies and things we talk about. And we want to get your reactions to news and all that kind of fun stuff. Before we get rolling, I will pop this up here, Rob. I don't know if you've seen this.
That's disgusting.
Terminator 2. Jesus, your automatic reaction goes to that. Yeah, this is a Terminator 2 Steelbook I saw on Amazon. You can order via our affiliate link in the bottom if you're on YouTube. If you, for some reason, don't own this movie, that alternate art is pretty sick. I don't know if that's credited to a particular artist or whatever. But yeah, help us out. Great way to support the show. Check out the affiliate links. Even if you click on it and buy something else from Amazon, if you are an Amazon shopper, it helps us out.
Oh, look at it. So they had a Blu-ray version, they had a 3D version, and I think
it's labeled as 4K, but I'd verify that when you go online. I saw it was Blu-ray and stuff like that, so I didn't want to label it as 4K. But I also did put the link for a 4K version if you want to upgrade your current Blu-ray. And I'll take your leftover Blu-rays. I feel like I should accumulate just as many copies of Terminator 2 as possible.
I think I have the same one. Yeah, I have the same one that you do there. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find my other copies. The one with the endo skull. I don't know where it is. It's probably packed up in a box.
Didn't you post it though today on your social media feed?
No, that's my full size endo skull. They did another one that's a small one.
Oh,
that comes with this. Yeah, I kept a T800 prop replica. One of the few things that I've actually kept over the years. I did have the T600 for Terminator Salvation, which I wish I kept, but for some reason I sold it, and it is impossible to find right now. I don't know if you remember the T600, which was the big chunky Terminator from the Christian Bale one. Yeah, I know you're not a fan of Salvation.
Probably the worst Terminator movie that they made.
Yes. No! All right, we're going to... If you guys got your rankings for your Terminator movies, we're going to pop that up later. You can drop it now if you want, and I'll just star the comment, and we'll get back to it when we finish talking about Terminator 2. But Rob, what do we like to open the show with? It's nice Monday evening for everybody.
Yeah. So first of all, hello to everybody who's watching. If you haven't had an opportunity to check out the Heroes World podcast with myself, John, and Stu, we have I don't know how many episodes we've done now, John, but we have like hundreds. So you can definitely go back and check out past videos and reviews there. We'll be back, I think, sometime this week. And John, we do like to kind of start off by saying, how was your weekend?
Yes. So folks, if you have caught any of the new drops, or you're maybe watching House of Dragon, or maybe you've hit the eject button on Rings of Power, or it's She-Hulk. You're kind of on the fence. I don't know. Let us know in the comments what you're thinking of all the new drops this week. Rob, I didn't get up to much. I did watch on Netflix. I don't know if you saw a movie that trended at #1. It's called Do Revenge.
Nope.
Which has the girl from Riverdale and has Sarah Michelle Gellar in it. It's a fun little spiritual successor to Mean Girls, I guess you would say. Right. But I was actually surprised. Like, some of those movies don't turn out so good, and I feel like it did overall okay, especially for a Netflix movie. And then I did watch. Did you get the chance to check out American Gigolo?
I haven't. I'm behind in a number of shows right now. I'm in the middle of playing catch up on For All Mankind. I have a couple episodes left. So.
Oh yeah, that's your jam. I'm surprised you weren't watching it like live as it was going.
No, I like that one to build up, man, because I like to go through it. I can't. Yeah.
So American Gigolo, I do recommend it. John Bernthal, who is amazing, and Rob, when you see him during the first couple minutes of the show, he is jacked. So I know we've talked before about bringing Netflix or our lack of wanting to bring back the Netflix guys to do Marvel characters or whatever. But after seeing him in American Gigolo, I wouldn't mind seeing him back as Punisher right now. He's a great actor. Maybe if they kind of twisted it and how they're doing Daredevil Born Again and it's not necessarily a continuation. I wouldn't mind seeing that happen to Punisher. So we'll see. I always kind of laugh when they're like,
what if they bring back? What if they bring back the Punisher version with him in it though? But it's the one where he's dead and he's fighting the ghosts. Remember the Marvel Knights version?
I think he would murder Frankencastle. Everyone makes fun of me, but Frankencastle was a time when they turned Frank Castle Punisher was killed, and they brought him back as like a Frankenstein thing, and they called him Frankencastle. It was a really funny time in comics, and I think if anyone can do it, John B can do it. So take that, Rob. I'll take it. But anyways, Rob, what did you get up to? You usually get a chance to check out a few more things than me.
I try to crunch a bunch of stuff, but I've been pretty busy the last few days. So I guess I've been trying to finish off or get through the season of For All Mankind. I'm loving this show. I'm super excited for it. I highly recommend people watch it. I think season 1 is still free on Apple TV for those who aren't subscribers, but you should check that out. I didn't get a chance to see House of Dragon yesterday. I was finishing T2 with my son. I just had like a really busy weekend. And you know what I've been watching a lot of, John, are those 30 for 30 documentaries on Disney Plus. I've watched quite a few of them. I got to say, there's one, though, that hands down is the worst.
Okay.
It's the one about the Joey Chestnut versus Kobayashi for they're the speed eaters. You know, the guys every July 4th, they eat how many hot dogs and they shove it into their pie holes.
Yeah. Okay.
They did a 30 for 30, and I thought this would be kind of interesting. It wasn't. It was stupid. It was horrible. I hated it. I was like, I wasted my time. It was an hour of time that I'll never get back watching that stupid episode. But I've been watching a lot of those, which is kind of like, I'm not like a big sports guy anymore. I used to be maybe when I was younger, but not anymore. So for me to be actually watching a lot of these it's a testament to how well they tell their stories in these mini documentaries. So
yeah. I might not like or do. I don't know. I like sports, but I might not do the professional sports or whatever. But it's always good to see a story behind some of these athletes that put in so much work and things that they do to motivate themselves and inspire others and stuff like that. So I'm down. I'm gonna have to check those out. I keep seeing that Ric Flair one pop up, and I'm like,
that's a good one, man. That's good.
Anything else?
No, just playing a lot of. I finally got a chance to really sit down and try to hammer out Ghost of Tsushima on my PS5. It is so good, man. I'm really enjoying it. I got very frustrated the other day though because I couldn't get past a certain I was trying to take over this whatever, doesn't matter, and the hordes of these guys are coming at me. And it took me almost 45 minutes, and my son was downstairs watching, and I got really frustrated at one point, and he's like, "I'm out." He was just tired of listening to me raging. So.
he was trying to stay along for the ride until you beat that particular part, and then
finally come upstairs. He goes, "Did you finally beat it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Good for you." And I was like, "Man."
I remember a game I used to play. It was called Midnight Club Racer, and I think it was Rockstar Games made a racing game. And I was trying to beat this level all night. I was just missing it, and my brother, who doesn't play racing games, decides to go, "Hey, let me give it a go." And he beats it on one try. And I was like, oh my God, I've been playing this game so much. I knew all the shortcuts. And I guess he had watched me kind of which routes I take. and he just did it in one shot. And he was just basically like, we have this joke. It's called Retire Undefeated. And basically he was like, I played this game. I defeated it. I retired. So shout out to just funny things like that happen.
Well, I've been trying because, I'm going away at the end of the year. And I was thinking, hey, maybe I'll pick up a PS Vita. Like, I know there's an older machine.
Yeah.
First of all, they're I don't want to be paying like $600 for this thing. But there's this new device that you can put onto your iPhone and I think the Android as well that links up to your PS5 or PS4 called Backbone. It's just like this cool controller thing. It grips onto your phone and you can use it to play your games wirelessly, right? So you can play all your PS5 games on this if like you're. But the problem is that you can't offload them onto my phone. Like I was like, I want to download them onto my phone and play them while I'm on the airplane. You can't do that. So I'm trying to find a way to be able to do that. I did. Yeah. Anyways, that's whatever. First world problems.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Let's dive into the comments because I see some people talking about stuff. So Lewis says he hasn't watched the new Rings of Power, which I have not watched yet either. So if anyone's seen that, check in. I think I saw some comments later on that people did get to that. The new Cyberpunk anime series, Rob. I don't know if you do. I think you don't do anime. I think we've already established that. But several people have recommended this, including our good buddy Andre. Who is usually pretty, a stickler for source material, things sticking to the source material. And he was a huge fan of the Cyberpunk series. So I think that goes to show that this series is well done. I think Lewis has recommended it to me. I think Jonathan Yo has recommended it to me. So look, Steve is in here, who's my anime connoisseur. So yeah, look, he says it's both good as both an anime and a Cyberpunk story. So I'm always down with anything Cyberpunk. Dino says Rings of Power has been enjoyable. She-Hulk isn't bad, but he also admits, granted, he's not the target market. So I got to respect that. I think, yeah, if you can watch something and you can understand, hey, you know what, this isn't necessarily for me. And you're like, hey, I feel this way about it. But you're willing to admit, hey, this is not aimed at me. So cool for whoever likes it. So I think that's good. I did enjoy She-Hulk. Rob, how upset were you that there is, spoiler alert, no end credit scene this week? Did you watch it?
Yeah. I was a little bit.
Were you watching it? And then when it says skip to next episode, or it shows like you're like, no, there must be something else, and you click the thing and you make the screen big again. Nothing.
It was once you see that the Georgia peach symbol, you're like, that's it. There's nothing else. What the hell?
Yeah, I don't know why they would do that switcheroo on us. Like it's kind of weird. So yeah.
Well, I was expecting a certain character to show up.
Yeah.
And we didn't get that, and I was like, what the hell? So
yeah. Louis shouts out Lower Decks. I know, not one of Rob's favorite shows, but I am watching Solar Opposites and Rick and Morty currently now, and some of the people associated with those shows also work on Lower Decks, so I'm gonna have to get on that. Fraser said last week's Rings was good. I actually thought that too, but a lot of people I've talked to did not like it, so we'll see. Let's see if anything else here. Luce has got building some Lego. Shout outs to Lego. I saw Luce. Yeah,
he's building this wicked Lamborghini set, man.
Yeah.
Actually, if you don't follow Lewis on your social media, you should. This guy has been posting these photos. He got these new boards, the display placards, essentially, that he's able to display these big Lego sets onto the wall. And I was like, I don't know, man. You want to be hanging up your Lego sets like that? I would just be careful, like lying.
And he's like, knock on wood, Lewis. I assume you know what you're doing. He's sticking them up with the 3M
tape,
right? Not screwing it into the wall. Also, shout outs to Dino, who also does live builds of Lego on his YouTube channel.
Oh, sweet!
It's kind of in the comments. So if you don't follow him, Dino is a ton of fun. Follow him on Instagram. He'll provide you with a lot of laughs. So yeah, Steve says moral victory, John. Don't let your opponent get perfect on you. Yeah, Steve. That's some more video game lingo. So let's keep it rolling. Sarah says she's checking in and she's packing, Sarah? So I guess she's been too busy to watch anything. So yeah, it looks like a lot of people like Lower Decks. So I think we're gonna avoid it because Rob's not a fan, but I'll maybe get to it.
You know what? I'm gone for a few weeks at the end of the year. You're more than welcome to do a Lower Decks special.
Yeah, check out Dino. He's a lot of fun. Makes me laugh all the time, especially when he comes in. He's great. He's a great dude. So, Rob, let's kick it over to you for the news because I'm sure we want a lot of time to talk about our movie today. So let's kick it over to Rob.
Movie.
Yeah, I know, eh? I heard that and I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah, it really tripped me out, man. That tripped me out. All right. Again, thanks everybody for tuning in. Hey, John, we're going to start off with one of your favorite video games here. We were talking about video games. We're going to go to your favorite one, Gran Turismo. The Hollywood Reporter broke the story that Neil Blomkamp of District 9 and Elysium fame, although I would argue he's likely best known for the movies that he didn't make, like the new Alien movie and Halo, but I digress. Neil is set to direct a movie based on the video game Gran Turismo. Kind of. Now, this is interesting, John.
What?
Yeah, kind of. So, like, this is based on a true story about a teenage Gran Turismo player whose gaming skills won him a series of Nissan competitions to become an actual professional race car driver. Exactly. David Harbour of Hellboy, Stranger Things, and Black Widow has been cast as a retired race car driver who teaches a teen on how to drive. So, John, is this like a pretty cool take on a video game movie, or is this another Need for Speed? With a caveat that I think you love that movie, which everybody else hates.
Okay, love is a strong word, but I do own it on Blu-ray, so it is in my collection. So I can't like say that's trash. But yeah, so it's got the video game in it, but it's about a kid winning a video game contest. So it's more akin to The Wizard.
I was gonna say it feels like The Wizard, right?
Is this the spiritual successor to The Wizard, starring Fred Savage?
Yeah, and Christian Slater.
I don't remember.
And,
Christian Slater?
Bo Bridges.
Slater and Fred Savage. I feel like that should be on the list for next week, Rob. I don't know when the last time anyone's watched Wizard is. Check in with us if it is worth watching in 2022. But bonkers, if you gave me a list of least likely things to get turned in from video game into a movie, Gran Turismo would have been on my list. Is it going to show people? I don't know if you got super deep into Gran Turismo, but you would have to grind out events and build specific cars to race in these events. And I remember one of them is a Le Mans, a really long 24-hour race, which I never bothered to complete, but you had to do it to get a certain car. It'd be funny if they made a movie on that.
I used to grind on Gran Turismo when I had a PS1. Me and one of my brother-in-laws, we would race all the time. But yeah, man, I mean, when I first read it, the article, the headline, saying they're making a Gran Turismo movie, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I do own the Need for Speed movie again, but it did not have any ties to any Need for Speed game that I know of ever.
But I do, though. Listen, we know that we've done shows about the fact that these video game movies don't work out well for them. This is an interesting enough take that at least it has me more intrigued than I would have been if it was just a video game based on the movie, a movie based on the video game.
No. So it's kind of like it can start as an esports thing where this guy learns Gran Turismo and builds the rig, which one day I dream of actually building, with the steering wheel, the cockpit and the seat and all that kind of stuff. And then transitions to an actual race car driver. That's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm actually interested. Whereas I would have originally brushed it off as like, oh man, we're doing this Need for Speed thing again. So sure.
Well, Neil Blomkamp is known the last few years for bringing movies close to production and then we don't film them. So we'll see if it actually.
Yeah. Good idea. Not happening.
Hey, John, we've mentioned the movie Blade Runner and its sequel, Blade Runner 2049, quite a few times. Well, our faithful viewers and listeners will be hearing a bit more about replicants and runners in the coming years as Amazon has announced a live-action series helmed by original director Ridley Scott and 2049 writer Michael Green. The show will take place 50 years after the events of 2049, so I guess it's Blade Runner 2099. We have no idea of any of the characters from Blade Runner or 2049 will return for this show or when it's even going to drop, maybe 2024. I have no clue. But John, is this a good idea that gets you excited or just another IP that is being drained of its worth?
No, I think this is a smart move. When you think cyberpunk, you automatically actually associate it with Blade Runner. So if they set it in this world and take off from there, like Altered Carbon, as much as I did like that show, it's based off of a book that not many people know. If it was called Blade Runner, we might have had more seasons than it's got. But I think it's a good call.
There's an anime out though. Have you seen it?
Yeah, the Altered Carbon one.
No, Blade Runner.
The Blade Runner. Yeah, so the Blade Runner, I think it's called Black Lotus or something like that.
Yeah.
The animation choice they did was not good. in my opinion, and I'm sure maybe some of the other guys will chime in. I think Jonathan and maybe Steve have actually given that one a try. But I think a live action is where they want to be, especially if they've got, like, with all this technology. We talked about Almost Human during the show that you were away for, Rob, which was that Carl Urban series, which was like kind of like a cyberpunky. He was like a cop teamed up with an android. So and a lot of people consider that show underrated and underappreciated, and they would have liked to see it continue. So Blade Runner, take the biggest name in cyberpunk and make a cyberpunk show, which a lot of people I feel are clamoring for, especially now in the day of all this technology and Oculuses and all the kind of stuff that you can buy now. Tesla self-driving cars, all that stuff makes sense.
We can't say that. We don't want to get sued like Elon Musk. No. I love your self-driving vehicles.
Yeah, everyone basically says Black Lotus was garbage, so we don't recommend
all
that.
Right. Perfect. I want to take a pause in this news break to let you know that the remake of Quantum Leap premieres tonight on NBC and City TV in Toronto, John.
Yes, we're all in for this, right? We're going to watch this series, right?
I am. I've got it. I'm recording. I think it's on right now, so I'm recording this show.
Did you see the article that said Scott Bakula said he didn't want to come back for it, or was that a clickbait article?
Like it wasn't. I guess he was kind of like, they presented it to me. Wasn't, I wish them all the best. But hey, man, how many times have we been told in articles, Tatiana Maslany being one of them, saying, I'm not in She-Hulk. I'm not part of it.
Yeah. This could be the classic of all classic diversions. Yeah, I'm not. First episode. Oh, I found him.
Yeah, listen, maybe not this season. If they get a full season pickup, maybe in season 2, but you'll see Dr. Sam Beckett at some point. All right, so we're going to go from good news for Blade Runner fans to bad news for Star Wars fans. Wah, wah. You're going to remember, John, that all the way back in November of 2020, which honestly feels like 17 years ago, Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins was announced to the Disney investors as the director of Star Wars Rogue Squadron. She even made a flashy 90-second video about her dad flying planes and that. And then we remember she got into like a flight suit. Well, she can take that flight suit off, John, because Disney has grounded the movie, removing it from its schedule altogether. Bitch. It really seems... Happy Gilmore. It really seems as though Disney and Lucasfilm are shelving all of their Star Wars movies, John, in favor of TV shows. So are we destined to get 3 to 4 new Star Wars shows a year instead of movies? Like, what are you upset that Rogue One's not going to go forward? Like, where are we? What's happening?
I wasn't hyped for it at all, but I didn't really follow all the news. So I'm fine with it. Bring up the quality of your TV shows, guys. So I don't know. The recent Star Wars movies, what's the most recent one? Is Han Solo considered the most recent one, or am I missing something here?
No, I think the last
is it
the Jedi one. The
third one,
the Rise of Skywalker was the last.
Oh, Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. So the last couple have not been super well received. So am I disappointed? Was I looking forward to this? No, I don't care. So sure, put it on the shelf, make something better.
Apparently Taika Waititi is working on a Star Wars movie, but we've heard this like so many times with Rian Johnson doing a new trilogy, with Colin Trevorrow coming back to do so. Like, who the hell knows what's going on? But you know what? Like I said to you before, we talked about this with Stu in the podcast. Like, I'm at a point where I kind of prefer the movies as opposed to the TV shows. So
make it your argument was make it a bigger deal. You go see a movie. The movie is a big, nice, big deal piece. I've said big a lot of times, whatever. But nice face. That's pretty good. I should add that as a soundbite. Nice face, or so is your face. But yeah, you make it an event. I think that's what I want to say. Make it a bigger event, bigger deal, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. I think so.
All right. Well, listen,
we'll see, right? Andor is coming out, so high hopes for this one, right?
Yeah, I honestly, I know we're gonna watch it for our show and review it, but it's whatever. Listen, we're gonna end on a good news story, John, because nobody likes ending on a bad story. So, we got word over the past weekend, John, that Keanu Reeves will be returning to the big screen, reprising his role as John Constantine in the sequel to the 2005 Constantine movie. Of course, with every reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction. John, do you know what that's from? Oh, no. Man. Do you know what I just said to you?
Yeah. I don't know where it's from. Is it from John Wick?
Every reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction? What?
Is that from The Matrix?
No, man. It's Newton's third law of motion. Okay.
Oh,
anyways.
you want the actual sciencey version.
Yeah.
I thought you wanted a pop culture reference. Come on, man.
All right. Well, the result of this news, John, is that Constantine series that was being developed for HBO by J.J. Abrams is dead. And this is actually will probably also kill the Justice League Dark movie that was announced a couple of years back.
Good. Sure, I am okay with this.
Bullet taken. But despite that, John, are you excited to see Keanu Reeves return to Constantine? Are you excited for this sequel?
It's been, I don't know what year that original Constantine movie came out.
2005 or something, man.
I remember watching it and I remember not minding. I remember thinking it was pretty good. The whole water, like feet in the water thing was a little weird. But I think every time it comes up in conversation, everyone has the same feeling that they're like, hey, this is not bad. Maybe it's not the same Constantine, from the comics and things like that. But
well, it sure as shit isn't.
Yeah. It's a great use of Keanu Reeves, especially his look now. I think it will fit in for this type of character. So we're down with anything Keanu Reeves, right?
Yeah, well, listen, listen, John, I don't know if you know this, but today is September the 19th, which means All Hallowed Eves is just around the corner.
Yeah, I think
I have a funny feeling, John. We might be putting worse. We have 5 weeks of Halloween themed type movies. Maybe we'll throw Constantine in there as one of those weeks.
I think we have to. For
that's me saying I'm trying to be playful with the audience, but audience, we're gonna watch it.
Constantine, dust off your DVDs
or fire up your Netflix account.
Shout us to Netflix. But yeah, if you have your original copies, and this happened when I was watching Terminator 2, I did start watching it on Netflix, and then I ended up popping in my Blu-ray. Whoa, hella crisp.
Yes.
I don't know if maybe older movies they grab different versions of it, and it's not quite the crispiest version, because their new movies all look really clear, right?
Yeah. I actually, it's fine. I did the opposite. I started off with the Blu-ray and everything. Yeah. I was watching it on the main floor, and then last night we flipped it on to Netflix because it wasn't as loud. My house wasn't as rum. I should have gone in the basement to finish it off, but I didn't want to. Whatever. So
that's the convenience of these streaming services. You move from one TV to the next, and then the next, instead of putting in your DVD and waiting for all the menus to load. And finding the scene you were on, you just hit resume.
Yeah.
So it's a decent trade-off. Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of the Constantine movie. I found it to be really boring, to be honest with you. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it in October. Yeah. But I remember I actually put it on maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, and I still found it to be not my cup of tea. So maybe things have changed, John. I don't know. We'll see. But that, my friend, is the news.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, Rob, for putting that all together. During your breaks.
We saw there was some pretty big news here. Our friend Sarah is moving to Calgary.
Yes.
Okay.
I had insider information. I'm already very sad about it, but I'm very happy for them. So I don't want her location on here too long. But
you understand Calgary is a fairly large district. It's not like we're saying
I know still,
94th 110th Street.
My paranoia concern for friends. I didn't want it to be all over the place.
Any of that concern from you.
No, I'll give you DM me for Rob's address and we'll set. What were people supposed to show up as? I don't remember what the gimmick was.
Wasn't it clowns for you because you hate clowns?
Oh, clowns! Oh, Jesus Christ! No clowns. Sorry. I think there were bronies or something who wanted to find Rob.
Right. I actually think was it yesterday? It was our friend Gord's birthday. So
yeah, Gozer.
Yes. All right. Well, good luck on the move, Sarah.
Yes. Very, very sad and happy.
Yes.
So it's always funny. It's always fun to see
6:15.
Yeah, always fun to see people moving on to something bigger, better, or different. New chapter of their life. But always sad to see them get further and further away from us. But hey, virtual world, right, Rob? We hang out every week.
That's a really big jump just to say I want to go to the Stampede every year. Like just by
What's in the Stampede?
All right, we're gonna move on to tonight's movie, John.
Moving on. Yes, happy belated to Gord or Gosif. Okay, Rob, let's get to the Terminator. Are we getting to the Terminator? Yeah, again, if you haven't bought a copy or want to upgrade your copy, we do have links for the 4K version and the Steelbook version in our affiliate links in the bottom of the YouTube if you're watching it there. You should own it. I think we all probably do own it. I feel like if you don't own a copy of Terminator 2 in your collection somewhere, DVD, VHS, Laserdisc, maybe you own it on your PSP. That'd be an interesting picture. If anyone does own it on PSP, send me that picture. But Rob, do you have a breakdown for one of the biggest movies of everyone's generation?
No, I do, my friend.
Yeah?
All right, Terminator
Right.
2 Judgment Day. In a follow-up to 1984's The Terminator, James Cameron returned as writer and director of T2 Judgment Day, released on July 3rd, 1991. The movie had a reported budget of $94 million, making it the most expensive film at the time, John. But don't worry, it grossed $520 million at the box office. T2 reteamed Arnold Schwarzenegger with former Mrs. James Cameron, Linda Hamilton, who got absolutely shredded for this movie. Joining the cast for the sequel was Robert Patrick as a T-1000 and Edward Furlong as John Connor. The special effects were handled by a who's who of movie history. Dennis Murin managed the computer effects for ILM, and Stan Winston also carried
legendary Stan Winston.
Yeah, carry over from the first movie. He came back to handle the prosthetics and the animatronics. As an aside, John, there is a 3 or 4 part documentary on ILM, Just for Light Magic. It's on Disney Plus, and they do talk about the work that they did with Terminator 2. It's a really good. The first half is all about Star Wars stuff. That's how they built up. But honestly, if you're a big movie fan, especially from like the 80s and 90s, you're gonna love the ILM series. But I digress. The inclusion of the T-1000 and the effects may seem like no big deal to you and I, John, and people watching some 31 years afterwards. But back then, it was revolutionary and was a big risk trying to pull it off, with close to $1 million of the budget dedicated just to the T-1000 alone. But get this, John, a team of up to 35 people at ILM were required for the 5 minutes of screen time the T-1000's effects appear. Only 5 minutes in that movie is he liquid, right? The process was so complex that rendering 15 seconds of footage would take up to 10 days. Like, that's groundbreaking. Like, nowadays, you're like, 15 seconds of footage takes like...
Yeah, like you're like, this taking longer than like 2 seconds to load? Like, what's going on? That little circle like filling in?
It was it was the hourglass. Just keep moving around. When the movie was released, it was to general acclaim from critics, even though it was deemed to be quote unquote too violent of a movie. It has since been heralded as one of the greatest action movies of all time and one of the best sequels ever made, considered to be equal or superior to the Terminator. Rotten Tomatoes currently has it as 93% critics and 95% fresh with the audiences. T2 went on to win 4 Academy Awards. All around makeup and special effects has become a pop cultural phenomenon, with many video games, arcade games, merchandise, and callbacks to T-1000. Does anybody remember that cameo in Wayne's World back in 1992?
Yeah, I was going to pull that clip. I didn't have a chance.
Have
you seen this, boy?
Yeah. No! So, John, I know this may be a hot button issue for you, but is T2 better than its predecessor and the best of the Terminator franchise?
Yeah. To make a long story short, yes. All
right.
Hands down better. Like I said, I used to try and be spicy and say I like Terminator 1 better because it's got that whole horror element. And yeah, it's got Kyle Reese in it. You know, I like Kyle Reese, but no, Terminator 2 is hands down. I think people say it's basically everything Cameron wanted to do in the first movie, but I guess didn't have the money or budget or whatever to do, or something like that. So T2 is definitely the best of the series. Like, so much so that when we go and I think we're going to take some time and do our rankings of all the Terminator movies. If Terminator 2 is not on top, like, I don't know what to think of you.
Oh, I thought you were telling me that it wasn't on your top for a second. I was like,
no. It's impossible for it not to be the number one selection if you're ranking your Terminator. So, all right, Rob, how do you want to chop this up? Should I throw out some random stuff that I had upon the, I don't know what number reviewing of this this movie it is. But let me throw off a couple of things that were funny. All right, so weird observations. So this is one of my first things that I came up with. Weird observations. Guy eating a lollipop at Dyson Industries. Does that guy not get you every time? You're like, what the hell, dude? Be a professional. He's like, you need to sign out the like the thing. Like was
I know I've only been here a couple weeks, man, but I'm really glad to be here.
Yeah. If he's only been there a couple weeks, he's eating a lollipop while talking to his like the head of everything. Like, come on, dude. Like, was that part written like that, or were they like, hey, here, take this lollipop and do this thing, or you think he was like some young extra and he's like, yo, I'm gonna make my mark on this movie, and my thing is gonna be that I'm eating a lollipop during the scene. And you're like,
he's one of these guys who's like, he's been like, you know, I'm so dedicated to my craft. I want to know the backstory of my character. And Cameron's like, dude, you have one line. He goes, I need to know. Like, what does he do? He's a young guy. He's in like a company. Oh, can he smoke? No, he can't smoke. What can he do? He has lollipops to stop his smoking.
It's a lollipop, and I'm going to be eating it, and I'm going to be delivering this line at the same time. But that guy always sticks out to me, of course. Also, another character that sticks out to me is, you know, the guy in the hallway. He's drinking a soda, and he's between T-1000, John Connor, and Terminator, and he just gets like blown away.
Yeah, I know.
He is hilarious.
He jumps in front of the guy. Yeah, the Pepsi in the hallway. I'm like, dude, I would run away.
Yeah, like that guy he drives me nuts. And I feel like if he was not in that scene, it might be a better scene. But I don't know. It's funny to see him every time you rewatch this movie. Yeah. Shout outs to Steve mentions that he was like kind of Asian-ish looking. I don't know. I couldn't tell 100%. But yeah, I was like, hey, yo, there's an Asian guy in this movie. Oh, he just got blown away. And he was holding a soda for some reason, and he decided to turn right into the line of fire when he was clearly out.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be down here.
Yeah, he literally jumps in front of the bullets and takes the shots for John Connor. Yeah. I guess, you know what? He saved the future. He saved John Connor for us. And then one of the other things is that it must have been a really awkward day on set. The guy, Douglas, I think, he licks Sarah Connor's face.
Yeah.
Who is Linda Hamilton. Yeah. Was she at the time James Cameron's fiance, or was it a result of this movie that they got?
Yeah, no, it was after this movie they linked up.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure. I was like, yo, my wife's gonna be lying on the bed here, and then you're gonna lick her face.
I need you to lick her face.
He's like, this is my first day on set.
Wait, you mean like it's like no. I need you to full on like lick from here all the way up. No, at the time, James Cameron was married to Gail Ann Hurd, who is, you know, as we know, a massive producer as well in Hollywood. So, yeah. And then he ended up linking up with Linda Hamilton after. I think they have a child together. Anyways, it's not like I know them. So
you saw it on the Christmas card that you got.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other weird things that popped up on your umpteenth viewing of this movie? Folks, if you guys got any things that kind of always jump out at you every time you rewatch this movie, let us know.
Yeah, there was something while you were talking. Now I've completely forgotten what it was. There's one thing actually that really irritates me about this movie, John.
Yeah.
So it goes from like a really cool score, like it has that iconic Terminator score, right?
Yes.
Like not only the dun 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 dun, but like even the na 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 na, like all that stuff.
Yeah. But bang on key, by the way.
What?
Bang on key, you got right.
Thank you.
Exactly,
well, I don't want to get you don't want to get demonetized and pulled off YouTube. But the problem is though, is that like a lot of like the chase scenes and it was really bad, like 90s synth music. Like yeah.
Welcome to Talking through the Terminator 2 soundtrack. Bump, bump, bump. Okay, we'll watch other people that act it out, and we'll be in like the top corner doing the music. Sorry.
I was even making the piano keys with my hands here. I was on the synthesizer. Anyways, it drives me absolutely crazy. I often think like, because I know that. So in 2017, Jim Cameron went back and he remastered some of the footage and he made some things a bit different. And that's when he re-released it in theaters in 3D. Why he didn't go back and change that score is beyond me, because it's probably like the most grating.
No, it's great. It's great. No, it's great. It's great. It's great. Shout outs to, do you prefer the Guns N' Roses song in this movie, or would you rather fire up Thor, Love and Thunder?
No, in this movie. Want to know why? Because they used the song once and they repeated it again after the end credits. Thor: Love and Thunder played the entire Appetite for Destruction album and maybe a couple off their greatest hits. Off of you, yeah. So no, yeah. I mean, this was off Use Your Illusion. My instinct to say number 2, but it might have been number 1. But yeah, it was a great.
I will either correct you or strike you down in that. I'll take your word for it, Rob.
I did find also Edward Furlong. So this is his first movie. He went on to appear in a bunch of really shitty movies afterwards. And obviously he's had some demons since then. But
yeah,
his acting, I got to tell you, like, you know, we always talk about how whiny Luke Skywalker is.
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to go get the power converters like that. Man, this kid is whiny as fuck.
I was gonna say the one scene where basically they do that exposition dump where they're basically like, okay, why don't you turn into a bomb and find me and stuff like that. I feel like that was probably first day of him working with Arnold, because I think he does get better in other scenes. But yeah, there are some very whiny scenes that he participates in.
Yeah, no, okay. Jonathan Yo says he was also in American History X. I agree. Okay, so he had one great movie, but then he was in that one. He was in that one, like he was in a Pet Sematary 2, I think.
Oh, Pet Sematary again. Is that going to be on the October list?
No, you wouldn't be able to watch it. Too scary for you, John. Then he was in the other one. I can't remember. It was the guy he played video games. Remember, he was playing like this like Doom type game on his computer, and then he got sucked into the guy got. It was like this crazy. I can't remember what it's called. Anyways, it was a bad horror movie. Yeah. So yeah, there are some funny things in this movie, but man, it still holds up. Now I did watch it with my son, who has never seen this.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a struggle for him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, bit of a struggle. I mean, he said he liked it, but he didn't. I don't think he saw the appeal that we do. And as I was watching it, again, just like you, John, you've probably seen it like a 1,000 times. I went to the theater to see the re-release in 2017, like I said, but watching it with him, like there's a lot of, as you said earlier, exposition, right? There's a lot of exposition, build up and story and dialogue, and then the action scenes and that type of action movie, which is what we talked about with a lot of the revisits of the 80s and 90s action movies that we've done. You don't see that stuff anymore. Nowadays, it's like boom, 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 boom. It's one piece after the other, right? So I worry that the young kids of today's day and age are going to have a tough time understanding how a true, good, hard-hitting action movie is when it's just being fed into your eyeballs every 17 minutes, as opposed to something like Terminator 2, which has those ups and downs, but it builds that story, right? I mean, makes you invest in the character.
I feel like that, but to the point, to I guess his boredom point, there is some parts that over-explain things. Like, Arnold gets to do a whole dump on like everything that's kind of the blah 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 blah, all this stuff, and then things like that. You're kind of like you're kind of over-explaining things, guys. Whereas I guess some of the movies that we've talked about that we consider like really kind of like pieces of art, sometimes let the camera and the shots and the cinematography do the talking. This movie doesn't really kind of allow for a ton of that kind of. But yeah, Edward Furlong.
Brain Scan, John. Brain Scan was the movie.
I think I remember the poster. I can kind of picture the poster in my head. I never watched it. Okay, maybe no. I was thinking something else. Yeah. Shout outs to someone said Lawnmower Man. I think I'd rather watch Lawnmower Man. So let's put that on the maybe list for October. Or maybe not.
Yeah, exactly. Don't forget, Edward Furlong was also in The Crow. Wicked Prayer, John.
What is that, Crow 5 or 6 or something like that? We disavow any Crows after the first one, do we not?
Right. Yeah.
I'll entertain the talk of Mark Dukakis, The Crow Stairway to Heaven TV series. But any Crow movies beyond one, we are not talking about. Rob, who would you, before we get to your favorite scenes? So folks, let us know what your absolute favorite scenes of this movie are. But before we get to that, Rob, I came up with a couple ideas. What would be funny, because we're in the age of spin-offs and legacy sequels and all that kind of stuff. What would be the funniest sequel or spin-off idea? So I'll give you 3 choices. Choice number 1 is John Connor's red-haired mullet buddy. Would you want to see what that guy got up to after getting ditched at the arcade and following everything on the news? Second movie is the 2 girls that sold John Connor out and were like, yeah, I think he's going to like the Galleria or something. They just knocked him out straight up. I wonder what those two girls are up to right now. And then the third choice is the moments when T1000 takes over the foster parents' spot.
Jeanette.
Yeah, Jeanette hanging out with Todd and trying to keep this ruse going. I think that would be a great 20 minutes of the T1000 conversating with Todd, who's actually pretty hilarious in this.
Yeah, that's Xander Berkeley, a very young Xander. He's like one of those character actors, like you see him in all these different things, right?
Yeah. Because the first scene is like, oh, you gotta get him to clean up his room, and he hasn't cleaned it in a week.
And he's watching the game.
Man. He's like,
come on.
He's kind of like, oh yeah, end of the world type thing, right? And then later on, he's like, would that dog shut the F up or something like that? And then he gets speared in the face.
John, your mom wants you to clean your room. It's not my mom, Todd.
And then cue the Guns N' Roses. So I don't know. Do you have an idea for another spinoff? Is there someone else you'd want to see what happened?
Yeah, I was thinking.
What happened to the two jocks that tried to save John Connor and one guy got his hand busted up?
Yeah, how did that guy's hair not rip out? What happened to his mullet? What happened to the guy's mullet? And where was the gym in that area? Because there was no. I don't know where they were coming from.
That was like a wasteland. That set, it just had the car and like a bunch of broken up buildings. Yeah. What? Like, why were they there?
Yeah. Are you talking to moi? No, I would do the spin-off. It would be Dyson's son, who his dad gets shot, and he ends up being a race car driver because he was using the RC.
No, he's a monster truck driver. They touch on the idea of that.
He's a guy who plays Gran Turismo who ends up being
yeah, and that spins off into this new movie. Now you can get that other movie made. But if you watch the Sarah Connor Chronicles, they actually spun off the idea of Miles Dyson's widow. I think Lena Headey, who played Sarah Connor, kind of checks in on her, and she's like, "Oh, F you, you got my husband killed, right?" So shout out to that show. I don't know. Yeah, you never watched it at all?
Nope, didn't care for it.
Interesting, folks.
I have an issue with TV series that are like are prequel stuff. Like I had an issue with Krypton. I don't watch Pennyworth. I didn't watch that Gotham show.
I think it was after. I think Sarah Connor Chronicles is after T2. I think technically.
Yeah, probably. You're probably right. Doesn't matter. I won't watch it. Just like I didn't watch the Ferris Bueller's Day Off TV show. I preferred Parker Lewis Can't Lose. Like I won't watch TV shows based off of movies. It just won't happen.
Yeah. So yeah, shout outs, folks. Let us know if you liked Sarah Connor Chronicles. I think it did get pretty good towards the second season where it got kiboshed.
I got a great one. What if the T1000? It's one of these it's one of those shows where he's trying to find missing people all the time.
Have you seen this blah? And then that'll be the answer. Like
you've seen this dog.
Yeah, CSI had it opened every CSI Miami. Remember, every episode opened with the guy on his. I forgot.
David Carradine.
No, Caruso something.
Oh, David Caruso. Sorry.
David Carradine would be a different show. I would have watched that.
That'd be Kung Fu. Yeah.
Well, yeah. He's always he finds the body. He's like, well, blah blah blah, and there's and then he goes into the CSI Miami theme or whatever. Shout out to that. I didn't mind that branch of CSI. So yeah, yeah. A lot of shout outs to T1000 murdering that guy with his sword hand, knife hand, whatever you want to call it.
Now, so John, we've seen this. This is one of these staple movies that we've seen countless times. Although, the last time I saw it was 5 years ago. I saw it in the theater.
Yeah.
Do you find that the special effects, and not necessarily the T1000 liquid, because I still think that holds up personally, but like when Arnold's on top of the truck as it's skidding towards the hot fuel state and he jumps off and he rolls, like, do you find that some of that stuff does not look as well as you remember it, or like the
things that come
when the flying, the machines and they're all being exploding in the air, like you can tell it's prop replicas and everything else that are being on wire work, right? Like, do you find it just to be like, it's a great movie, but it's still, and it has a sentimental value, but you can just see a bit more of the,
Yeah. So aside from VFX, which have come an astronomical way, stunt work in general, those stunt performers have 100% advanced as well. One of the key one indicators, and it's during one of what I'm going to choose as my favorite scene, is T1000 being dragged from the back of the police car. How bad does that dummy look when it whips around the corner?
Super Dave Osborne. I was like, I saw this on Super Dave Osborne. It's the same dummy. It's like the dummy on Superman 2. Remember when the hydrogen bomb is in the elevator in Paris, and you see the elevator going up the Eiffel Tower, and you have Superman holding on, but you can just tell it's like
he's it's a dummy hanging from the bottom, right? Yeah. So that 100%, if they did that today, that would be a stunt performer probably wearing some type of rig to protect
or
them
special effects or whatever
from sliding around. So you do see things happen with that, even like things. So but it's we've got that extra nostalgia drug kicking in, so that's maybe why your son wasn't as thrilled with it.
He says to me, John, he goes, "Hey, is there any other movies after this one? Like, we're halfway through the show." And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, so I guess it doesn't really matter. They failed.
Hey man, shout outs to 3, which had a pretty ambitious ending where they kind of lose, right? They kind of I'm gonna spoiler T3 because it doesn't matter.
You just did.
No, I'm saying I'm gonna spoil it because it doesn't matter, because the whole movie is trash, except for the ending, which was kind of ambitious, where they find out no matter what they do, they lose. Yeah. And they have to go into this war-torn future.
Fantastic. Although there was that one cool scene in T3 with the coffin, the whole shootout in the cemetery. That was
that whole action figure based on that. So save those thoughts till later. We're gonna rank our Terminator movies. But I will. So folks, if you got a favorite scene, Rob, get your favorite scene ready. I'm actually gonna choose. I would choose different scenes normally, but since this is my umpteenth to be watching, I think the whole mental, I don't know if it's a mental institution or whatever it was, the asylum or whatever, that whole escape sequence is amazing, like front to back, like Sarah Connor taking everybody out on her own, and then the Terminator shows up and she has that reaction to him. Terminator gets to mess up some guys, and then they have a whole chase with T-1000, very horror movie like, he's stabbing them through the elevator and then chasing them, and then you have Linda Hamilton hanging out of the top of a car. Like, that's crazy, right? Like, that look is really good on her, where she's just shooting and they're just trying to slow him down, and they realize they can't actually shoot him to death. So I really like that scene, especially. I think I would have chose something else normally, but when I watched it again, I thought that was a really good scene from the front all the way to the back.
I'm going to backtrack quickly because you're asking me before what one of those funky things that you see, and I couldn't remember what it was. Now I remember what it was.
Okay.
The scene when John they break into Cyberdyne and he has to get the key, and it's locked. Oh no, my card's not working. Right, the pad they've locked. Look, the silent alarm's been triggered. And John's like, "Don't worry, I got this." And I'm like, "Do you have a Terminator? Just rip the door off. What are you talking about?" Like,
no, that door is too thick.
Why are we worrying about this, man? I don't understand. It's just a safe. It was just a small safe, man. You can't just go in and rip it out. Like, I was like,
no, they had to reuse that scene that they established earlier. So Rob, shout out to this. Did you ever pretend you were a hacker when you were a kid and go baby, go baby, go baby, money? No.
Nope, because I'm an honest fool. I'm going to tell you what my favorite scene is, John, and it is not an action scene. It is, for me, one of the best and most believable death scenes in the history of cinema.
Okay.
Miles Dyson.
Yeah.
As played by
Joe something. Joe Morton.
Joe Morton.
Something like that. Yeah. From Speed.
When he is riddled with bullets.
Yeah.
Right? And he's sitting there and he's holding the device, the trigger. And he's
the trigger's on the floor and he's holding.
Yeah, he's holding like a weight or whatever it is.
It was a recreation of the chip from the Terminator's head, I think. Okay. And he's holding like the bit of it. So it's actually pretty symbolic, I feel. And he's hyper, the way he's breathing, right? Like really fast. And first of all, those cops were the worst cops ever, because you don't just walk in there shooting people you usually say, freeze, everybody down. You don't just start walking and shooting people. Anyways. Yeah, dude. But
although it was Los Angeles.
Finish your thought. I have a who's worse, but finish your thought.
It was Los Angeles in the 90s, so completely plausible. But that scene, man, I always, when I think about Terminator 2, admittedly, my first thought or my second thought always goes to that scene of Joe Morton. I'm like, that guy, man, he should have got an Academy Award for that death scene, man, because that thing gets me every time watching him. I'm so enthralled with his breathing, and then it's and then just drop.
He dies a hero.
See his eyes just go out. You're like, what?
Yeah, no, yeah. Shout us to that. I got two things. So first thing is, who's more incompetent, those cops or the staff of that asylum, who basically ignores the Terminator walking up, and and goes to subdue Sarah Connor. They don't notice the big biker with the shotgun. And then the one lady who's like, "Hey, your cop friends are here," and then he disappears, and she's just like, "Whatever,
Yeah.
whatever, just let it go." The cop who sees his doppelganger. And basically just gives it a stupid look instead of like getting his gun out and doing something. Like there's also a security guard that waves in T-1000, just kind of like, go ahead, man, you're a cop, sure, get in here.
Yep.
Get into this highly, like, everyone in on staff seems like an idiot.
Well, but I agree. But don't forget, John, this is a security in 1991.
Yeah,
like
I guess yeah, easier times,
right? We're using a mindset of security post 2001. It's vastly different.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. And then I will shout out. I think we should talk about it after. Let's get to everyone else's favorite scenes, but I do want to talk about, should Linda Hamilton have gotten an Oscar for this? Because her portrayal of Sarah Connor is crazy when you really think about it. So shout outs. Steve really likes the scene where Sarah Connor goes in to kill Miles Dyson, which is a really intense scene. She's wearing the black kind of military outfit. She's going at him with a sniper rifle and then runs in with a handgun and stuff. Like, it's really good. And he's just like, I didn't do anything. He's like, why? What did I do? He's like, I didn't do anything. You know, it's like yeah, you're right. The scenes that he killed as well. So let me see. There was another one. The Fraser shouts out the extended scene. So I don't know if you watched the extended version, Rob. I did fire it up, and then I got to that one scene where Kyle Reese shows up, and I kind of actually didn't like that scene.
Yeah, I don't watch the extended edition because I find it to be like, that scene bugs the shit out of me. The dream sequence.
Yeah. But Fraser's talking about the extended scenes with T-1000, which I think all of those actually probably could have went back in.
To explain why he's malfunctioning, I completely agree.
Yeah. There's points where his feet are melting and like he's just not holding everything together. And there is one scene where he's searching John Connor's room and he's using his fingers like scanners, although it was way too long. So no wonder they cut it out. It's actually not in the extended cut. It's in a deleted scene feature or something like that.
Lewis is saying 1991 versus 2000 is only 10 years. I know, but Lewis, security changed forever after 2001.
Yeah. It was very lax to get it for that whole plan to happen of them getting in. So let me jump to the other one then, Rob. Do you think Sarah Connor, aka Linda Hamilton, aka whatever, should she have gotten an Oscar for this? She transformed her body, especially. I don't know if she did any other movies with this look, but from Terminator 1 to this movie, like, what a drastic change. That also represented a change in the character, right?
I would say yes. I think she did, but
or at least nominated, right? These types of movies weren't nominated at that time, but she at least deserved a nod, right?
Right, but then if you look back, like James Cameron, for maybe some would consider his personality faults or whatever. Mm-hmm. He also, look, we did with Sigourney Weaver and Aliens, right? Like, made a very strong, fierce woman, just like he did with Linda Hamilton in T2. Both of those, I think, were phenomenal roles for those women. They should have been nominated for their portrayals as Sarah Connor and as Ellen Ripley, but they weren't.
Linda Hamilton's that speech, anyone not wearing 2 million sunblock is going to get it.
Real
that monologue is great.
Yeah. I guess, it would probably be best to go back and see who was all nominated in 1991 for at the time they were called them actress Oscars. But to see who what was up. But I agree. She should have been some type of recognition for sure.
Yeah. Like I feel like she put a lot into that role, and really kind of like changed I guess the landscape for female characters, or was at least a part of it. Like her doing chin-ups, like what an intro to cut to a character with a bed overturned doing pull-ups, and like her ripped up like crazy arms.
Okay, so here,
go.
John. So the Academy Award for a Best Actress in a Leading Role, so it would be 1992. Okay. Laura Dern for Rambling Rose, Gina Davis for Thelma and Louise, Susan Sarandon for Thelma and Louise, Bette Midler for For the Boys, and Jodie Foster for Silence of the Lambs. So
Oh, there's a lot of strong female characters in there, just in general,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So
I think she deserves to be on there. I don't know who I would take off from there. I feel like both characters from Thelma and Louise maybe is a bit much, but not my movie, not for me. But
yeah. So I don't know. She did work, but I mean, she did great work. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So let's go on. Do you think you can rank your Terminator movies, Rob? Do you have a ranking? Do you want me to throw out my ranking first, or
yeah, buddy, go ahead.
All right. So my ranking right now. Who knows when this will change? Upon some rewatches, it might change. Terminator 2, first place. So if you guys got your ranking, put it in the chat now. Terminator 2, second place, Terminator 1. Just love that movie. Third place, Terminator Salvation. I just love Salvation for some reason. The designs in Christian Bale. Number 4, Dark Fate. Number 5, Sarah Connor Chronicles Season 2. Number 6, Terminator Genesis. Number 7, Sarah Connor Chronicles Season 1. And then last place, Terminator 3, which I think Lewis also stated that his Terminator 3 was going to take the last spot. So I'm sure there's going to be some debate over the newer Salvation, Dark Fate, and Genesis. I think you're going to be all over the place for different people, right?
Yeah, I think that they're all like, listen, I think Salvation is best known for what happened on set with Christian Bale losing his shit. I don't remember that movie much. I know it was directed by McG, and I thought it was a piece of shit. But admittedly, I also thought Genesis was kind of shitty.
I love Genesis.
I know you did. And in Dark Fate, I don't remember anything from Dark Fate. I remember that Arnold.
Because you're old now. That's probably why.
But I don't I remember thinking, oh, okay, cool. I know I didn't go to the theater to see it. I think it came on streaming pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. I remember watching it, but I don't remember anything about that movie. So it's currently on Paramount Plus, and I am going to fire it up. I actually remember not minding Terminator 3 as much. Like I actually, for me, would put T3 higher than Salvation and Genesis.
I thought that. I remember liking it in the theaters, and I'm going to show incredible bias because I pretty much like anything Terminator, so you can see like the DVDs. But I thought that too, and then I went to rewatch it. It is awful.
Okay, so I have to I have it on DVD, so I'm going to have to throw it in.
I think I dusted off my Blu-rays. I don't have a copy here. I never upgraded it, and I stopped buying DVDs when Dark Fate came out, so I think I do have to get a copy of that. Eventually.
Oh, Jonathan Yo is portraying the character of my wife tonight.
Why do you have this extra streaming service on here, Rob? So let's dive in. Sorry, what was your actual ranking? Did you rank it, or did you just talk about? Yeah, what was it again? Sorry.
Oh, T2, T1,
yeah,
T3.
Okay.
Genesis, Dark Fate, Salvation, and I won't do the Chronicles because I don't.
Yeah, you haven't seen it yet. So you put Salvation at the bottom. Wow, you didn't like it at all. I'm surprised. And I'm not surprised.
I am like, after watching this again now, I am very much open to going and watching all of them. They're just not all streaming. Like that's the problem. Like now you got to try to fucking find them and everything else like that. And I'm not paying for like.
Yeah, they were. Like if we did this like a year ago, I feel like all of them were online.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
so
but then Skynet pulled them off.
Yeah. They knew what was going on.
Right.
So let's see. Steve checks in. He says same T2, T1 tied with Salvation. And then everything else after that, he doesn't even know. So yeah, so T1, T2, T1, and Salvation. So he's okay with the Salvation stuff. And then he shuts out the T2 3D ride. So I don't know. Lewis gave a bunch of numbers. I don't know which numbers are equivalent. He said 2, 1, 4, series, 6, 5, 3. 6 is Dark Fate, I guess. 5 is Genesis. Okay, so 4 is Salvation, probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's kind of along the same lines as me. I feel like Dark Fate was overall better than Genesis, but you know what? I'd have to rewatch everything. I feel like I didn't like that John Connor thing they did with Genesis.
So so here's the thing. So I'm listening to this podcast. And I know we're going long, so we'll have to cut. But called The Rise and Fall of Ain't It Cool News. Remember that website? Rise.
Yeah. I used to go to that all the time.
Yeah, me too. And so there's a podcast about everything that's happened with everything. Anyways, but they were talking about how they got the script for Terminator Salvation, And at the end of that script, they
the original
killed off
ending.
John Connor and had the machines essentially impersonate him. And they leaked it on, the script was leaked onto Ain't It Cool News, and apparently the furor and uproar was crazy, and they changed the ending to Salvation. They removed that. Yeah. But then I was thinking, I'm listening to this pod, I'm like, wait a minute, they did that in Genesis. I guess they were like, who cares what people think? Let's just throw that idea into Genesis.
They kind of stole the idea. I remember reading that same article, and I was like, man, I would actually have really loved this movie if they actually were brave enough to do that idea. So I guess we won't detail it. So in case for some reason you haven't seen Salvation, but it was a neat twist, and I think it would have worked. Shout out to Sam Worthington. I think he was supposed to be the next It guy, but didn't work out for him. He did.
Know you later. We'll see you in Avatar.
Salvation. He did Clash of the Titans, I think, right? In Avatar,
and then Wrath of the Titans.
yeah, and then proceeded to disappear from. Oh no, he was in that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Sabotage. That horror.
Whatever, movie. He's going to be in. He's got the next Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5. So he's getting paid.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Sam Worthington. All right, Rob. I think we've ranked our Terminators. Is there anything else we want to talk about for Terminator 2? Are you going to watch it again? Is it still going to be on your repeat?
Yeah.
Is it going to be one of those movies you go back to all the time?
Yeah. Listen, I don't look at it and being like, you know what? It's lost its sheen. There are movies that I'll go back to. And, we've said this a million times, John. We grew up at a time when we only had a handful of new movies every year, not every month. Mm-hmm. And so you found those diamonds that you would keep watching over and over and over again. And this is going to be one of those ones for me. I'll continue to watch Terminator 2. I really enjoy it. Despite, obviously it's dated. It is 31 years ago. But man, it still holds up as a hell of a lot of fun. Get rid of that synth. I love that. And it's a solid A+ movie.
If you go back to even Terminator 1, they had a bunch of synthy music. Oh yeah, so you just weren't a fan of the synth.
Get rid of the key car, man. It does not work for certain scenes.
What if they had that thing? Remember He-Man from the He-Man Masters of the Universe? They had that key thing that basically played in the. They were like, it must be one of them Japanese synth keyboards or something like that. Like kind of like a semi-racist comment, and you're like, oh yeah. But yeah, that would not be on. I don't know. I feel like it could still possibly end up on the rewatch.
Nope, not happening.
All right, thank you everybody for sticking with us for Terminator 2. We didn't go super in depth, but I feel like everyone's watched it enough, so we wanted to just have fun with it. I'm sure we could have went scene for scene. If anyone wants to get at us at the socials, what your favorite stuff about that movie was, what you liked, what you disliked, or the other Terminator movies. I feel like we might end up rewatching a bunch of other Terminator movies in the very near future.
Yeah, we've got an interesting choice for next week.
All right, so let's go. Rob, what are we doing next week? We kicked around a whole bunch of ideas.
We did. John was really pushing for the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie.
Get it down.
Wow. But okay, we're picking a movie that is another sequel movie that is much loved. And I gotta say, I saw it once and I didn't like it. But I'm everybody keeps telling me how crazy I am, that I am totally ready to dive back in. I'm taking the ride, John, through the Fury Road. We're talking Mad Max Fury Road, bro. Next week on the Heroes World Sidekick Show, it is currently on Netflix. So if you do not have a copy, if you have not seen this, you can check it out on Netflix Canada. Which I am very much intrigued to go back because I saw this and did not like it. So we'll see if my tune has changed. Maybe I was in a bad mood that day.
Sorry. I don't know. Did you go to the theaters to see it, or did you see it?
No. I watched it, John. By way somebody had gave me their little black box to borrow, and I watched it, and I was like, this is doing nothing.
Because this movie at the time received a lot of hype. So if you didn't see it, I think on the initial drop, then you potentially got overhyped. So yeah, Dino.
Done.
I think that should be Dino's new shirt, and it's just like a blank black shirt, and it just says take an edible first. But yeah, I look forward to revisiting this. If you want to go rewatch the original Mad Max movies, go ahead. And then we're gonna check this out because there's also a new one coming out, right?
The Furiosa. So the character played by Charlize Theron in this movie, she's got a spin-off, like a prequel movie coming out. Yeah, listen, you're right, John. When this came out, people loved this. They couldn't blow this thing up enough, and it's still people keep talking about that. This is one of the best action movies, the best race. I mean, it's a race across the desert. People love this movie, so I am actually I was meaning to get back into it to see it, check it out again. So I'm happy I have I'm being forced to, but I'm happy I'm being forced to watch.
We'll have some fun. We'll talk about the older ones. We'll talk about all kinds of stuff. So even if we choose a movie that maybe you guys aren't 100% on board for, we'll have some fun talking about it. So shout outs to Mad Max Fury Road. Like Lewis said, he's got it on DVD. I think they did release a black and white version, Rob.
They did.
So I don't know which version people are going to watch. I might try and track down this black and white version. Use our Amazon affiliate links if you want to go maybe pick up a copy. So shout outs to everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Rob, till next time, right?
Yeah, buddy. It's a lot of fun.
Till next time. Till next time. Bwomp, bwomp, bwomp. Bwomp, bwomp, bwomp. Peace out, folks. Thank you.